In one of the previous lessons, we learned that the metal strips that run down the neck of the guitar are called frets. And in order to play a note on the guitar, you have to push down on the string just prior to the fret. That's a common mistake that a lot of people make when they're learning to play, to think that you push down on top of the fret, right in the middle of it. I remember thinking that myself. But the problem with that is that you end up getting a buzzing sound with a string, or a clipping sound. So always slide your finger back slightly to make sure it's just prior to the fret. And if you do it right, your string will ring out like this. Nice clean note, no buzzing, no clipping. That's how you know if you're doing it right. So I'm going to play a few notes up the neck of the guitar, and you can see where my finger is in reference to the fret. Always pushing down just before the fret. Now, we're playing single notes here, so I'm using the tip of my finger, and I'm also arching my finger like this, so that when I push down on the fretboard, I can kind of dig in and pinpoint that exact note that I need to hit. So that's kind of what it looks like as a side angle. Now, if you want to see what the thumb looks like, we'll rotate the neck here, and the thumb plays just as critical a part because it's giving me the support on the back. So while I'm pushing with the thumb, I'm also pushing with my finger. I'm kind of creating a squeezing motion here. And it's that squeezing motion that gives you the leverage you need to be able to play the notes properly. Now, in the beginning, the tips of your fingers are going to be very sore. That's common. And it's going to take some time for them to build up calluses and whatnot. Maybe a week or two is best I remember. But I promise you, it does get better. A lot of people give up in that first couple of weeks because they think it's just too painful, but the pain will go away. You just have to kind of bear with it. So playing a single note, again, arch the finger, push down, dig in, and pay attention to where your thumb is. And your thumb is always pressing against the back of the neck. Now the thumb, well, the entire hand actually will rotate like this, depending on what you need to play. If you're playing something high on the neck, high notes, your thumb might overlap it a little bit. Now, if you're playing sort of in the middle or lower notes, your thumb will be back here pushing. But your thumb and this part of your palm play a support role. They're always there, giving you leverage that you need to be able to make the notes. So I'm going to play a little single note run here. And you'll notice that my thumb is just kind of sticking up there. And it did the whole time. That's because it's anchored sort of at the top, this part of the thumb. But if I played something lower in the neck, you don't see my thumb sticking up. It's because it's back here pushing. So again, your hand is going to rotate depending on what you need to play on the neck. But just always pay attention to where your thumb and where the pad or the palm of your hand is. If you ever run into a problem with a note buzzing or clipping, something not sounding right, a note or chord, try adjusting your hand. Try rotating it this way, rotating it this way. Pay attention to where your thumb is. Is your thumb pushing? Is this part of your palm pushing? Something always needs to be pushing back there to give you the support you need. So a lot of people forget that. They think you're just pushing with this end, but you're actually pushing with both. You're squeezing. So in addition to being able to play single notes, you can also play more than one note by using this part of your finger. I guess it's the pad of your finger. This is kind of what that would sound like. You can see that I'm playing two notes there at once. So I'm pushing down this way. I'm not arching to do that. I have to kind of lay my finger across. Now, similar to playing that way, you can also use your entire finger and lay it all the way across the neck and play a bar chord. Now, bar chords are a little more advanced, and we'll get into those in a future lesson. But the best way to explain what's going on with a bar chord is I like to think of my finger as sort of replacing the nut. So the nut is right here. And think of sliding the nut up a few frets. And then you have these extra floating fingers to create your chord with. So your finger, your pointer finger, kind of becomes a capo, really, and allows you to play notes higher on the neck, play chords higher on the neck. So hopefully that's been informative and helpful and looking into the mechanics of fretting.